Hello, good morning, everyone. So I would like to begin my talk today with very simple idea. So if we want to get a better future environment, we must learn from the past mistake. So it will remain as what happened in the past, and we don't want it repeat in this time. So if we are talking about the environmental pollution, it is not only about polluted river, it is not only about the contaminated soil, not only about the dirty air, it is about human decision. It is about what happened when the development moves faster than the responsibility. It is about policy. It is about our awareness. It is about what we can do, even very simple for our art. So today I would like to take you to the several tragedies in the past, and hopefully again it can remain us for our lovely art, and then for our future, for our child, and for our grandchild. So maybe some of you know the title of the book, The Silent Spring. It is very famous book. The book written by Ryan Gerson tell us about the tragedy which happened in the United States. I think we all agree that the United States is one of very developed country. But in the past, they also faced with the bad situation. So when the pesticide, especially the DDT, used massively, and then the remaining DDT give the negative effect to the land, to the soil. And when the bird eat the seed from that area, and then many birds die. And then please imagine during the spring. So spring usually very cheerful. Many birds sing beautiful song. But because of the DDT contamination, so many birds died. And then the spring become very silent. I think the book is very important for us to remind us that the use of massive chemical will keep the effect. Even it also keep the positive, but the negative effect also will affect to our life. So from Silent Spring, I would like to move another case, the environmental tragedies in the past. Still in the United States, maybe all of you know about the Love Canal disaster. The name is very nice, Love Canal. You know, love is always something related to something very nice. But unfortunately, in that case, even the name is Love Canal, but it is disaster. So in this area, the use of land for the landfill of the hazardous waste, and then after they finish the use of the land, they cover, and then communities develop on the land. And then what happened? We have to remember that the characteristic of chemical, it will always remain in the land, in the soil. So when people live in the area, and then when the chemical released to the river, to the air, and then many cases of cancer appear. So many people, many residents, and then move to another area. They get the reimbursement. So again, cancer. Very scary, right? You don't want to have cancer. And then from the United States, let's move to our neighbor, Japan. I think we also all agree that Japan is one of a very modern country, very clean country. But also remember that even Japan, they have also a very bad experience regarding the environmental tragedy. The biggest tragedy in Japan, known as the Minamata disease, the tragedy of Minamata. What is tragedy of Minamata? The tragedy of Minamata is the tragedy caused by the methyl mercury, one of chemical, very harmful. And then one of industry, they dispose their waste to the Minamata Bay. And then the waste contain the methyl mercury. And then the methyl mercury in the water, the seawater, will come to the phytoplankton, zooplankton, small fish, medium fish, and big fish. And Japanese people very love to enjoy sushi, sashimi. I also like it. And then what happened? So the chemical, the methyl mercury in the fish will transport to our body. And then of course, it give a very, very severe, very, very dangerous effect to our health. Many cases, the defect of the birth, and then also cancer, neurological problem, tremor, and many, many cases. It is the past. Again, we have to remember it. Then I would like to move another case also very, very famous in Japan. And also I think in Indonesia, when we learn about the environmental, I think we will know about the ite disease. Ite is mean sick or harm. So we repeat ite. It's been very hard, very hard. And then if the first contamination in Japan because of methyl mercury, the second contamination is because of cadmium. I think the similar situation. One of industry disposed the waste to the river contain the cadmium ion. And then when the river water used for irrigation, of course, the cadmium will come to the rice. And then when we consume the rice, the polluted rice, the chemical, the very harmful chemical, the cadmium will come to our body. And what going on? You know, I think sometimes we drink milk, we consume the milk, because milk is very rich with calcium, right? The calcium, we need calcium in order to strengthen our bone. But when the cadmium come to our body, come to our bone, the cadmium will push the calcium from our bone. And then our bone become soft, become very big, and then we can see the problem. One of the problem of Italy disease in Japan, the bone problem like this. And then both case, I think still very, very important reminder for Japanese people, Japanese government. So learn from the past. They make the very strict regulation in Japan right now. So why I think we all agree that Japan is one of very clean country. And then now we are going to talk about our lovely country, Indonesia. From this figure, we can see that the data of the one of the publication in academic journal mentioned that almost 200 tons per year, the mercury released to the environment. You can imagine 200 tons per year. I think it is big number, right? And then again, back to the past situation, tragedy of Minamata. The source, the chemical same, mercury. And then also still based on some publication, they reported that in the gold mining area, many people also had the similar symptom as like the Minamata disease, very tremor, some defect, growth, etc. So it is a condition of Indonesia right now. I think we have to be aware of the situation. And also move to this area. So from Indonesia, in another island, and then move to the city, our lovely city, Yogyakarta. Based on this data, that the concentration of the cadmium and lead and other metal ion in the water bodies surrounding the landfill area higher than the standard, the permitted standard. And then I'm wondering that if we don't care about the situation, we will face with the same situation from the United States, from Japan, and from other tragedies. So it is the data. Sorry, I think it is changed. So the untreated garbage is about 40%, and 60% is treated garbage. And then it is the composition of our garbage in Indonesia, mostly food waste. I think, again, I want to remind myself and all of us that we have to care. We have to care about our waste. When we consume the meal, so please finish it. Don't remain as a waste, because it will also make some problem in the landfill. We can see in this landfill in Yogyakarta, the competition between the scavenger and then also the co. When the garbage come and then the co consume it, some garbage also. And then, but I want to focus in this slide about the leachate. Leachate is the water coming from the garbage. And then, because our garbage in Indonesia and in some country, and the developing countries, the garbage still mix. Again, I want to remind myself, please aware about our waste. I think a simple thing we can do, right? Make the garbage finishing, etc. So, due to the limit of energy, the limit of technology and budget, we decide to use the landfill. And unfortunately, even there are a good landfill system we call sanitary landfill, but unfortunately again, due to the limit of energy and budget, almost all landfill in Indonesia and other developing countries practically use the open dumping. It's been no proper treatment. And then why in the slide before that the concentration of heavy metal ion in the water bodies near the landfill area is very high, higher than the standard, and it is also very dangerous. So the most important thing is we have to do something, right? And then in this time, I just want to talk about very simple idea. I think it's just common that the treatment is depend on the characteristic of the waste and also what we want to get after the treatment. So if you want to get the very clean water from the waste, we can do it. But the cost, the energy, the technology, especially in developing countries, still problem. It's very common drinking water treatment. Even in developed country, in Japan, in US, it is similar. In Western, it is the same treatment. But the system will not able to remove contaminant from water. And then this one, very, very, very sophisticated treatment system, beam brag system. But it is expensive. I don't think we can adapt for the big scale. So it is also very simple, but it is very difficult to be applied in the rural area due to the limit of the land. And then this one, I think what are promising is absorption system. It can remove the contaminant from the water simply. So I don't think to explain in detail about the system, right? You can find from the website and you can by yourself about the absorption system. But in the end of my talk, again, I would like to remind that we have to be aware about the past environmental tragedies because it can happen in this situation and it is very dangerous. We need to find the less energy solution, the low cost, and also the system that practically can be adopted in our daily life in very simple activities. And then our job as engineer, me as a researcher, as student, as citizen and policy maker, our job is to break the barrier for our better environment.
I think that's all. Thank you so much.